Finally, an interesting mouse shape, because it's actually new. It's no secret that I've been frustrated with the industry for just copying each other and releasing the same shapes over and over, while giving us mostly useless specs like 8K and 50 billion DPI. I still love the other mouse companies, but it's because I love them that I have to be hard on them. Tough love. It's to be their best. I need to try push them to take risks again. They probably won't listen to me, but I gotta try. So just want to say a big thanks to G-Walls for taking a risk and pushing the boundaries. You're awesome. Hopefully more companies take inspiration from this thinking. So it's new and different, but is it any good? I'll get to that. First, let's actually look at the shape so I can comment on what I think works and what doesn't work, and why. To put it simply, it's wide and low at the front, thin and high at the back. We've seen a lot of the shape principles before, but it's a combination that's new, especially with the dimensions, because this is a very small mouse. So the widest point is at the front, then there's a slight inward curvature for the thumb, that's horizontal curvature, but there's also vertical curvature in the same area, which means that the thumb placement is meant to be right here, but because it tapers toward the thin back, it creates a problem for mouse 4 being a bit hard to find. I use mouse 4 a lot in Apex, and I did get used to it, so it wasn't too bad in use, but personally, I would have put the two side buttons either side of where mouse 5 is now. I think that would be better positioning. Similar story on the other side. There's a slight vertical curvature leading to the ledge to help with picking it up, but then just subtle curvature so you can place your little finger anywhere along this side, depending how you grip these mice. Let's get to the dimensions before going further with the shape explanation, because the grip width is about 5.5 centimeters, length is about 8.8, back hump height is about 3.8, and buttons are about 1.73, depending where you grip it of course, but where I measure most mice is at that point, so to keep it fair, 1.73. And despite the grip width being 5.5 centimeters, which would usually be in the small or medium category, this feels tiny in my hands, which are about 18 by 9 centimeters, yet it's actually wider than the MZ1 and the Ultralight X Small. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I think the 2:1 ratio is really important, as in, gaming mice should be twice as long as they are wide. This one clearly isn't, and that's where we're going to run into problems in games like Counter-Strike and Valorant. I won't go over that again here. If you want my explanation of the 2:1 ratio, check out the video in the description. But to the point, is this good or bad? The short answer is, it depends if you need the stability on side to side or vertical movements. If you're free aiming a lot in all directions, this mouse is great. If you're holding angles and flicking on mostly horizontal planes, then I would not recommend this mouse. That's just based on dimensions. Now let's get back to the actual shape. That thin back is great if you aim with your fingers, or do a lot of micro adjustments, because you have a huge range of motion with just your fingers compared to the other mice. A normal mouse will hit the back of your hand almost immediately, kept in place by the under thumb chunk. Pretty sure that's a technical term for it. This one is able to slide fairly far back. If you claw grip, this is the dream design for gaming mice backs, especially because you can still get some support with the extra high back. The buttons have some nice curvature, good grooves for comfort, and also to help lock your fingers in to give you more control. They could be deeper, like on the MZ1, but I'll take any curvature in the buttons. Definitely not a fan of mice without the comfort grooves. So it's an asymmetrical mouse, each side is different. The side buttons either need to be moved forward, or this left curvature should have gone further back. You can still have the tapered back for fingertip aiming, while still giving more room for the thumb. And same on the other side. My fingers seem to go forward like it's a Zowie EC2 grip, which is interesting because the MZ1 has the opposite effect, where I grip it more like the Razer Diamondback, little finger at the back. I can still aim it pretty well though, it's more the ratio of the dimensions that throws me off. But before I get to hand size recommendations, they have this light clay stuff. I was hoping it would be a way to extend the mouse further back. I wouldn't want to make it wider, because that will make the ratio even worse for me, so I just want to extend it. I put tape over the sides to prevent a cleaning nightmare, and it stuck to it pretty well. But I don't like this clay. It's like liquefied chewed gum. One of the worst substances. I really don't like it, and my idea didn't even work. I was hoping that I could put mouse feet on the new back, but no, it just came up with all kinds of problems. I would rather use the mouse in its default state. It's too hard to get this stuff right. I would definitely prefer an actual modular mouse than something I have to stick clay to. So yeah, let's take that off. Because even once it dries, it's not going to keep its shape anyway. It's just not a good substance. Again, great that they're trying new ideas, but I'm really not a fan of this one. Just because an idea is new doesn't make it good, and just because an idea is used all the time doesn't make it good either. So that's what I'm after. Not just new, but actually good. Okay, hand sizes. Usually I like to have my fingertips next to the wheel, but I also like to have a bit of my palm on the back for extra control. This mouse is way too short for that, so I end up having my fingertips hanging over a little. To palm this properly, you'd probably need hands under 10 centimeters. So if you have children who want to play games with a mouse, this might be good for them. and it could help them avoid bad habits with their grip later on. For fingertip or claw, well, that depends. It is a bit wide, so it's probably for 19cm hands, but it didn't seem too bad at 18cm. Here it is next to some other mice for an idea of the size. It's tiny, but still wide. Performance-wise, seemed all good, so let's get to the button sound test. Left and right are fairly quiet with a nice snap to them. The mouse wheel is also quiet but has some good feeling steps. Usual limbo jumps of course, but that's just how it is. And the side buttons feel good too. Overall, these buttons are actually quite nice. The build quality is a little off with some creaking, but it's also extremely low weight, only 29 grams. So maybe that's to be expected. The balance is quite good though, seems on point. The cable is only 1.5 meters and has this rectangle dongle. Nothing special, but it works, so all good. I think they give you a second cable, but not sure now, I have too many mice out. This one is only 1 meter though. Maybe it was meant to be an extension, or they're cheaping out on the cables. So can we please have a minimum of 1.8 meters? And can we take a moment to appreciate just how small the internals are? Even if you don't like this shape, G-Wolves is showing you can have a top tier wireless mouse in whatever shape you want. It's amazing. Anyway, to conclude, this is an awesome little mouse. I love that they're exploring new ideas, and really flexing what they can do with the tech. You can change the settings online too. Battery life seems good despite the size. You can even set it to 8K polling rate. Lots of top tier features in a tiny package. But is it actually going to help you play better? Well, again, it goes back to that ratio on the dimensions. Size is really important in a gaming mouse. It's why I started this channel. So if you need vertical aiming as much as you need horizontal, and you want that freedom to move the mouse faster, I think this is definitely worth a look. I felt free, but I just lacked that stability that I wanted in the games that I play. There were definitely moments in Quake and Apex that I felt the advantage of the smaller length dimension, but for the most part, it just felt unstable, even when just clicking around the desktop. And it's not super comfortable either. When I say we should use smaller mice, it's a relative term, so it depends on your hand size. 60% of your hand measurements is a good place to start, then I would say a bit below that, but you do have to find what's right for you. And as I said, this could be a great mouse for kids just learning too, although I think the grip width should be thinner. So yes, great mouse, but it's going to be very niche I think. Where it ranks on my site? Well, gaming mice are super competitive these days. We have so many good ones. It feels bad to keep adding clones because they technically belong there, while new ideas maybe don't get the attention they deserve. But I have to think, if all these mice were the right size for me, which would I actually want to buy? In my opinion, breaking that 2:1 ratio rule is such a bad idea. But if you want a fingertip grip mouse, maybe it's okay for you. I do aim this pretty well, and I want to give it bonus points for being different. So I guess for now, it can go above the Razer Viper Ultimate, due to the specs and originality and the fact it's not actually too bad a shape. I hope people give it a try, and despite not the high recommendation, I do hope more companies are encouraged to take risks, because there's definitely something to this. It just needs to be done in a certain way. But I will say to the companies, if you are thinking of taking a risk, feel free to reach out because I can give my opinion before you even make it. Big thanks to G-Wolves for continuing to explore and find new boundaries. I hope all these thoughts have been helpful, and I hope someday someone makes an amazing mouse that hits all the points we've come up with over the years. And I get to say it's super amazing and rank it at number 1. That will be fun. Until then, use your links below, sub, like and share, catch up.